Now, I'm your host, Larry Steinhouse, and today is October 21st, 2021. Hey, just a reminder, please hit that share button, hit that like button, and of course you can comment live during the show on YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, and I will get to see those comments, and I'll see if maybe I can even answer some of your questions if you have any. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and like the Money Chat Now page on Facebook. Money Chat Now is brought to you by Investor Schooling, and of course, you can attend a complimentary class this Thursday by going to investorschooling.com. There you will learn about real estate investing and stock options trading from those who do it every day. In fact, there's a class tonight. Come tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be learning notes. It's going to be pretty cool. All right, on today's show, we're going to be discussing the market update. We're going to be talking about how the Fed is banned. Oh, we'll talk about that in a minute. Everybody hates Biden. Trump's social media, WeWork is back, the SALT tax, and how shoplifting is legal in California and what the ramifications are of that. And we'll, of course, we're going to be talking about the wrap-up and some of the great stuff going on in the stock market that we can all make some money on. So first of all, let's talk real quick. The Dow was down. It was down about 150, 175 points at one time, and it only closed down 7 points. That's pretty good. The S&P actually broke a record today, once again, up 13 points, and the NASDAQ was up 94 points. And look, it's all about the earnings. The earnings are really good. People are doing well. People are getting unexpected earnings reports. And actually, I want to know the truth, I don't even think they're unexpected. It's pretty obvious that they're going to be going up the way they're going up. It's just because things are just better than people expected. You know, no matter how much the Democrats try to destroy the country, the capitalists always come through and do what they need to do to make money. But I will tell you that, as I said before, I do think we're going to have a little bit of a pullback in mid-November as we face things, as I've said many times, as we face things such as the debt ceiling being raised again, and by the way, it's no longer a $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill. It's now down to as low as $1 trillion. And so they're certainly making some adjustments. I'm going to be discussing that a little bit as well. So let's see, and let's talk a little bit about the fact that the Fed banned trading. Let's talk about this. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I discussed the fact that the Fed Reserve presidents were trading stocks that were related to the policies they were creating. Wow, you talk about knowing the outcome of the game before it plays. Anyway, for example, the Fed presidents could have owned bank stocks while suggesting a policy change that would clearly raise or lower bank stocks. The crazy part is they have been allowed to do this for decades. This is certainly the definition of insider trading, and most people go to jail for it. But it was legal. Anyway, up until now. Responding to a growing controversy over investing practices, the Federal Reserve today announced a wide-ranging ban on officials owning individual stocks and limits on other activities as well. Fed officials can no longer have holdings in shares of particular companies, nor can they invest in individual bonds, hold agency securities, or derivative contracts. The new rules replace existing rules that, while somewhat restrictive, still allowed members to buy and sell stocks and, of course, take advantage of the insider trading information. Under the new rules, the officials would have to provide 45 days notice in advance of buying or selling any securities that are still allowed. That makes sense to me. They also will be required to hold the securities for at least a year and cannot buy or sell funds during heightened financial market stress, according to a news release. Regional Presidents Robert Kaplan of Dallas and Eric Rosengreen of Boston recently resigned, actually last month, over this issue. I would speculate they were afraid to be caught with their hands in the cookie jar, and they were afraid of the repercussions if an investigation would actually call them out. It amazes me that the Fed presidents were ever allowed to hold securities that the policies that they were creating could affect. And you should also realize that Congress and Senate seat holders, as of now, have no restrictions or very little restrictions on the stocks they can hold or trade, even if they make policies that can control the market. That's why I told you to watch Pelosi's account to see if the $3.5 trillion, which is now maybe $1 million, $1 trillion, infrastructure bill was going to be released. You remember that show, Everybody Hates Raymond? Well, now it's Everybody Hates Biden. There are several reports that President Braindead's approval rating slipped deeply underwater. Some Americans lost confidence in his handling of the coronavirus and grew increasingly concerned about inflation and supply shortages. Duh! Every news article is about the effects of the scamdemic. Everything from supply chain issues to inflation and even illegal and unconstitutional mandates, such as masking children and forcing vaccines. This guy in the current administration knows nothing about recovery and the Constitution or even reality. All I can say is, let's go, Brandon! Hey, if you're watching, send me a message right now. Comment, let's go, Brandon. All right, let's talk a little bit about Trump's social media platform. Digital World Acquisition Corp, with the symbol DWAC, skyrocketed today from 10 to 47. Where was my call on that? That would have been great. On the news that Trump plans a social media platform that will be launched on their company. This is awesome news, especially for Trump. He will clearly have the entire patriotic audience on his platform. As we already know, the great President Trump was banned from all the current social media platforms after the so-called January 6th insurrection. Actually, it's ridiculous because a group of people entered the Capitol. All they had to do was wear BLM shirts, and then it would have been mostly peaceful protest. However, Trump was banned and his voice shut down all the social media platforms. His revenge on this new platform, and it will not restrict free speech. I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be great. Trump's account on Twitter had 88 million followers and was the voice to the American people. Trump's lawyers filed in Florida court with the following statement. Twitter allowed the Taliban to tweet regularly about their military victories across Afghanistan, but censored Trump during his presidency by labeling his tweet as misleading information or indicating they violated the company's rules against glorifying violence. Really, I've read several of Trump's, I'm going to read but a lot of Trump's, and none of them were violent. They were stupid sometimes, and they were inappropriate sometimes, but none of them were violent. Anyway, also in July, Trump sued Twitter, Facebook, and Alphabet, as well as their chief executives, alleging they were unlawfully silencing conservative viewpoints. Hey Trump, can I get in on that lawsuit? They keep banning me too. I'm looking forward more to lawsuits than I'm looking forward to the platform. However, I will definitely be a platform that you will find me on, so I'm looking forward to that opening. Hey, do you remember the brilliant idea of WeWork? They would rent large spaces, break them up into smaller spaces, and then lease those small spaces to small businesses needing single or smaller office spaces. Wow, that was a mouthful. And this was basically an executive suite center, like my partner Phil Falcone calls it. It's actually great. Well, in 2019, WeWork's IPO fell apart as the company faced questions about its corporate governance and how much it was really worth. Adam Neumann was the founder and CEO and was accused of fraud when he cooked the books to pump up the stock price. Now the entity is making its debut once again on the New York Stock Exchange and has undergone a refresh under the new chief executive, Sandeep Mathrani. The new WeWork has closed locations, negotiated leases, and cut thousands of jobs to reduce expenses during the COVID-19 pandemic. I believe they're actually still missing the boat. Yep, it's a viable business model, but I think it's a much better model to own the building they're leasing, not just lease units. I'll be watching the company. I'm looking forward to see if it can actually make a profit, but right now, we're going to take a break, and we'll see you in about a minute.
Okay, so you've thought about investing in real estate, houses, apartment buildings, properties, but don't really know where to start? Well, what if you could very easily learn how to gain strategies to use other people's money to buy and sell houses in the Philadelphia area? If you could learn and network with successful area real estate investors and how to produce monthly income on rental properties without headaches, that place is Investor Schooling. With Investor Schooling, you'll learn from two Philadelphia area rockstar real estate investors, Phil Falcone Ramon and Larry Steinhouse about how to buy and sell properties the easy way and teach you basic and advanced techniques to help you make money in real estate. You can attend investor schooling in person or online visual classes 8 times a month. You can and will learn how to make money in real estate. Call for free information and get a complimentary pass to one of these classes. But don't delay, as these complimentary passes are limited. Call the number on your screen now or visit investorschooling.com. investorschooling.com.
Welcome back to Money Chat Now. So far we've been discussing the market update, and if I got some interesting news for you. Man, did I call this one. I've been talking about this in class for a while. Snapchat just trashed. It's, I mean, I've been saying that Snapchat, I can't even understand how Snapchat could even be a viable company at 70 what it was. So Snapchat just dropped almost 20 points on, of course, user guidance. So in other words, they don't have that many users. People aren't using it. Duh, are you using it? I'm not using it. I've been saying this for months, how I can't believe that Snapchat is selling for 4 times the price of Twitter. Doesn't make any sense. But I'm going to tell you right now, this is where you're going to watch this show and you're going to learn something today, right? I told you last week, I told you Facebook was going to pop. I told you to sell it the other day, and guess what tomorrow is going to bring? Tomorrow is going to bring an enormous buying opportunity for Facebook right before earnings. It's going to be an incredible Facebook, because of the stupidity of the stock market. Snapchat dropped 20 points, and guess what Facebook just did? It just dropped 21 points. I hope it stays there tomorrow. I can't wait to buy it. It's going to be such a great buy tomorrow going into earnings. That's going to be awesome, because Facebook is not going to have the same thing as Snap. It's going to be freaking awesome. So hopefully it'll be down there tomorrow. I just had to interrupt and tell you all about that, because that is amazing to me. I'm super excited about that. We'll see what's going to happen too. All right, let's talk about the SALT tax. As AOC runs around in her dress painting "Tax the Rich," the Democrats are trying to overturn a Trump tax that actually taxed the rich. Oy. Trump had placed a limit on the maximum deduction that homeowners could take as a deduction against their paid taxes to local government. This meant that if you had paid more than $10,000 in taxes, you could only take the first $10,000 as a tax deduction. You couldn't take any more. So if you paid $12,000 to your local government, you can only take the $10,000 difference. Well, who do you think pays more than $10,000 taxes on a property? Oh. People who own expensive properties! Rich people! Ugh. Anyway, now the Democrats want to reverse this policy, even as they go looking for money to fund their ridiculous infrastructure bill. Clearly, the Democrats don't even want to raise taxes on rich people, or maybe they have houses that they pay over $10,000 in taxes, and they want that deduction back. Makes you think, doesn't it? By the way, in case you didn't know, SALT is called SALT because it stands for, yes, state and local tax. By the way, just listen to some of this dialogue going on. Representative Susie, Sousy, whatever that name is, a New York Democrat who is a long-term proponent of the SALT cap repeal, also reaffirmed his commitment to the issue. I've spoken to Senator Schumer, Speaker Pelosi, and Chairman Neal, and I'm confident SALT will be included in the final package. Guess what package they're talking about? The infrastructure bill package. That's the package they're talking about. So they want to lower taxes, to raise taxes, to pay for it. Anyway, I don't even understand. So he basically said, no SALT, no deal. Lower the tax on the rich, raise the tax on the rich. I get it. It's a political shell game as usual. And look, just so you understand, I need to let you know, I'm all for the removal of the limit. After all, I'm a property owner, and I got hosed on this bill. So, as I usually do, I will let the politicians spin their clever webs as I find the next way to use their policies to my advantage. It's that simple. I'm going to teach you that. By the way, I teach that all the time. Let's talk about some legal shoplifting. Hey, this is great, man. And under the who would have thunk it category, California is noticing a large number of chain stores closing because the stores can't afford to keep allowing shoplifters to steal any longer. No, shoplifting actually is not illegal. No, shoplifting isn't actually legal, but Governor Useless, he basically, Governor Useless of California basically might as well make it legal. The actual law is this: Prop 47, a California ballot initiative under which theft of less than $950 in goods is treated as a non-violent misdemeanor and rarely prosecuted. So out of concern for safety and potential lawsuits, stores tell employees and security guards not to intervene when they witness a crime. Most suspects, if they are pursued at all by police, are soon released. Californians effectively decriminalized shoplifting. Not surprisingly, they now have more of it. That's interesting. Anyway, with the chain stores closing in these areas, the people who actually needed certain items, such as food and pharmacy supplies, are going to have to find them elsewhere because their local store has been closing. Another great socialist policy doing more harm than good. Let's go, Brandon. By the way, is that the real-life version of Who is John Galt? Hey, any of you Ayn Rand fans would have gotten that one. All right, let's take a second break, and we will come back to you in a minute, and we'll talk about my stock picks. Investor schooling needs a new slogan.
Investor schooling? Never heard of.
Investor schooling?
Never heard of them.
Investor schooling? Never heard of them.
Any suggestions? Phil?
Investor schooling. We never heard of you either.
Investor schooling. We never heard of you either. Register.
Investor schooling. Those guys are everywhere.
Investor schooling? Those guys are everywhere.
Investor schooling?
Those guys are everywhere.
Investor schooling. Those guys are everywhere.
All right, welcome back to Money Chat Now. I am your host, Larry Steinhouse. Hey, listen, don't forget, hit that share button, hit that like button. Let me know you like the show. Leave some comments. Let me know you're watching. It's always fun to have some interaction during the show. All right, so far we've been discussing the market update, and we've been talking about how the Dow actually, surprisingly, only closed down about 6 to 7 points today. Not bad. We talked about the fact that the S&P was up about 13.5 points. The Nasdaq was actually up about 95 points. But we also talked about the fact that Snap, plummeted. Actually, now it's 30% after missing on revenue expectations. I should have pulled that as a put. I knew that was coming, but holy cow, I never would have expected it to move that fast. But the great part is it's bringing Facebook down with it. So tomorrow might be an incredible buying opportunity for Facebook. I can't wait tomorrow. I hope it holds. That would be fantastic. It'll be great. I'll be buying it. All right. We are okay. Wait, somewhere I'm over here. All right, there we go. So we also, by the way, I took a look at Apple. Apple is not affected by the fact that Snapshot is going down, so that's pretty good too. So of course, nothing serious happened, but some notable plays too. Another notable play was Match.com was also up today, and it was doing very well. And the reason it was up today is because it will be joining the S&P 500. Now, I will tell you that something that kind of happens that's kind of odd is the stocks that replaced do better in a few months than the stocks that enter. I'm not sure who's replacing Match.com or who Match.com is replacing, but as soon as I find out, I want to watch that stock because I actually think that stock will do pretty well. Also, Tesla moved up on strong earnings yesterday. If you remember, we talked about that. It's up about 32 points. Pinterest pulled back today as we wait to see if PayPal buy is real and if they really will offer $70 a share. You know, I sent out a text message to all my students. I said, get out of it because I wasn't sure if it was going to maintain. We also saw that BITO, the Bitcoin ETF, pulled back as the cryptocurrency also pulled back. I got to tell you, if you fully understand how this works, it's the opposite of what should happen. If the fund is on futures, the fund should attract more money when the Bitcoin is lower. Well, I'll be watching this fund anyway because I'm just fascinated by the whole crypto movement. AAL moved up a bit on slightly lower loss for the quarter. It was also had earnings today. But I'll tell you, if this dumbass president would allow people to move around the country again, the airlines would finally get back to normal. By the way, I still see AAL moving up quickly, and I think it would be by February that we'll be doing really well. We're going to see how the rest of the market reacts to more great earnings. And like I said, I hope Facebook stays down there. That's going to be fantastic if Facebook stays down there tomorrow. I am so excited about this. I can't wait till tomorrow to buy more Facebook because it's going to be a great play. Anyway, I'll be telling you more about that as we keep going. So keep watching the show for great market tips and insights. Let me know if you've made any money from some of the tips we discussed. By the way, thanks again for watching Money Chat Now. Hit the like button, hit the share button, let me know you like it. And from time to time, I own some of the assets and options discussed in this show. The opinions discussed in this show is solely mine, and no one has asked me to make them. I want to thank you again for watching Money Chat Now. We look forward to your continued support. Tomorrow, I actually won't be here, but we're going to have some special broadcasts from you all day long that I'll tell you about tomorrow. All right, take care, everybody.